he and my mother are looking down on us today, especially as we are attending this so important game. Finally, for now, I can talk a long time. My great-grandfather was a preacher, my father was a preacher, my uncle was a preacher, my grandfather was a preacher, my cousins are preachers, my sister's a preacher, but I'm not a preacher. But we're so honored for this opportunity, and I'm just so honored to be with Tampa Bay tonight.
Great. We're going to go ahead and open that to questions.
Mark, what does the partnership with the NFL mean to you in realizing your platform and expanding your reach with your message?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. What it means for us is when we think about what my dad wanted to see in our nation. Certainly he wanted to eradicate what he defined were the triple evils of poverty, racism, and violence. But he also believed in civility and being together, that we could disagree without being disagreeable. Unfortunately, our nation is at a divided point. That's sort of why football games and championships are so important, because they bring people together from every walk of life. It does not matter what you believe, but you come together. With service initiatives, which we're doing with the NFL for the next 5 years, give us the opportunity to engage millions of young people, 7, 8, maybe more young people, to achieve 100 million hours of service. And I believe we'll be a much better nation after that, and it will help us get closer toward realizing the dream.
A rejection of this notion of stick to sports. We've seen that with Jackie Robinson, Roberto Clemente. A new crop of athletes are now doing that. Just your thoughts on athletes, particularly NFL athletes, getting more involved in the social justice realm.
Well, I personally believe that's a great thing to do. I think that their social media platforms are so massive that other young people will be inspired. And it's really just about making the world better for all God's children. And so I'm just excited that that is happening.
Mr. King, how important is your dad's message in 2024?
I think Dad's message is critically important, and perhaps I would say equally as important as it was, because I started off by saying poverty, racism, and violence. We've not even begun to eradicate those from our society. The positive thing is we live in a very amazing nation and an amazing world. And so we could probably have been further along. We just aren't there yet. It doesn't mean we won't get there. I always know and believe what we can do. It's what can become. And all it takes is a few good human beings who are dedicated, determined. We can't give up, we can't give out, we won't give in. We're gonna move our nation forward for all people, not for any one individual, but for all people.
Whose brainchild was realizing the dream? It's not only a noble cause, it's an ambitious one.
It is ambitious. We have partners called Legacy Plus. And so the Martin Luther King III Foundation, Legacy Plus, my wife is president, I'm the chairman of the board, but Legacy Plus, another organization, we collaborated because it's gonna take a lot of us working together to get this very ambitious project done. But, you know, Dad's acknowledgement is not just domestic. We're just one country that has a federal holiday. He's observed in over 100 countries around the world. And so this really is a domestic mission initially, but ultimately a global mission. Somehow we'll join the world together to actually realize the dream.
Dr. King, what is it like for you to live through this moment with your daughter and your wife by your side?
You know, there's nothing that brings me more joy. My wife tomorrow has a birthday. So last year, it actually fell on the King holiday. And then, of course, our daughter just has written a book called We Dream a World. And it is her tribute to her grandparents, talking about the world that she and her generation want to create. You know, I couldn't ask for more. In terms of support, my God, my goodness, I could not do what we could not do, because it's not just me, it's we. We could not do, and I'm so thankful our daughter is engaged and wants to be a change maker. And that, in fact, really is being a change maker.
Yeah, Yolanda Renee, talk about that book. I watched the special the other night. It was incredible. Just living up to your grandparents' legacy and kind of, you know, your role in that, you know, only 15, I think.
Well, We Dream a World is on. Okay. I'll just project. So We Dream a World is a book, and it's a children's book, and really, I mean, I like to say it's for big kids too, meaning adults. And it's a book about the type of world we can have, and sharing the dream that was shared to us 60 years ago. I think a lot of people forget about the dream and about what that looks like. I think we hear about the dream, I think we hear the message, I think we see the legacy, but we actually forget how to live it. And so with this service initiative and with this book, we hope to inspire people, to show people what a world without racism looks like, what a world without poverty looks like.
And how old are you?
15.
Will you consider running for office?
We'll have to see.
Dr. King, is it hard for you to see where we're at still in 2024 and relive this day that honors your father every year?
Well, here's what I would say. Every January, the question I get is, have we achieved the dream? Obviously, the answer is no. There are individuals who have achieved the dream. But for masses of people, we still have a ways to go. So I always say we didn't achieve it last year. And by the way, this is called a holiday, but my mom wanted to ensure that it was a day on, not a day off. So we're not kicking back and relaxing. We start anew every January. Ultimately, there will be a day where we will totally realize the dream. And so that's how I approach it every year, knowing that we can do this. We haven't achieved it yet, but we're gonna keep thrusting forward to ultimately achieve it.
And that's what this initiative is about in reality. When you really think about the fact that we are going to bring together young people all around this nation to commit and complete 100 million hours of service. I had the distinct pleasure of working for Reverend C.T. Vivian, one of Martin's father's closest lieutenants, and being mentored by Reverend C.T. Vivian and Ann Braden, who was mentioned in the letter from a Birmingham jail as a white Southern woman in the freedom movement. I know what happens when good people come together. This is not something that is just theoretical. And so what we really believe is by 5 years of coming together, serving together, that we really will be closer to realizing the dream. We really will build that table of brotherhood and sisterhood with this initiative.
Where do you guys see this cause going? Because I know you and your family have spoken out about such things as reproductive rights, affordable housing, voter rights. Just where do you see the civil rights movement moving in 2024?
But what we want to show with this initiative is for people to understand that we all have a part in the King legacy, and we certainly all have a part in a responsibility in creating the beloved community. One of the things that we're most excited about this initiative is that we really are intentional about building a big tent, because we want people to understand that service is accessible, and we want young people to tap into their own unique passions and power to be a part of creating the world in which they are proud to live in.
Okay. That'll do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you all.